quick video update. 1 week in, I actually booked a hotel in 2 different areas because I got a really good deal, and I'm a deal hunter. So the hotel I'm in right now I really like. However, I've learned that the traffic in Dhaka is the craziest place. I think it's the craziest place I've been for traffic in the world, actually. And in my mind, when you're in a city, sometimes it's okay if you get a hotel that's far from where you want to be or visit. You can always get in a taxi or get in a metro. But in Dhaka, things take so long. Like even earlier, where my hotel is situated, it's kind of in a really bustling area with lots of schools and stuff. So when I order an Uber or something like this, or a taxi in Uttara, which is where I'm staying, this morning it took 30 minutes to get to me, and it was only like 400 meters away because the traffic was so bad. And then I was going not even to the center of Dhaka, but to an area that was maybe 40% of the way to the center, and that whole journey took about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So what I wanted to do was extend in this hotel, because it's good value. However, I think I didn't make the right decision, coincidentally, to book in the centre, because there's so many things I want to see, and most of them are away from the airport, like Dhaka Old Town, all the historical places. And if I was to visit them from my hotel, honestly, I think it would take 3 hours to get to Dhaka Old Town during traffic. And there is a metro, which is supposed to be more efficient, but by the time I took a taxi to the metro and then got on the metro, it's maybe a little bit quicker, but it's not so much of a difference. So the first week I've done really nothing, and I only learned as well from a guy I was speaking to today that Bangladesh Independence Day was on the 16th, and I didn't even know, which is so bad because I wanted to. It would have been cool to see the celebration. And I think that day I was just doing computer stuff in the hotel. I didn't even leave that day, and I had no idea it was a national holiday. So that's a bit of a shame, because I was here at the right time, I just didn't know. What else? Yeah, so one annoying thing which I find happens a lot, it's not specific to Bangladesh, it's just in a lot of places in the world. So I booked my hotel through Booking.com. Obviously Booking.com take 15% commission. However, what really annoys me is the hotel actually told Booking.com that I didn't check in, and that way they don't have to pay the 15%, but it looks bad for me. Not only can Booking.com potentially restrict my account, which they have done in the past, if hotels keep saying that I don't show up, even though I have shown up, they're just lying so they can not pay the 15% to the company. But more annoyingly, which the hotel probably doesn't realise, but when in the UK and in Europe you book hotels, for me at least, I use a third party, so I get actually cash back into my bank account when I use Booking.com through an affiliate. So for example, I use Wizz Air, which is an airline, and Wizz Air pay me 5% cash back on whatever I pay through booking a hotel, right? So I've lost that because the hotel lied and told Booking.com that I didn't show up. So these are the things that are annoying. It's not technically their fault, but they could have just asked me when I checked in, hey, do you want to cancel, and maybe we'll give you like a 5% discount. That would have been more logical, right? But they didn't do that, so that's a bit annoying. Either way, it's really comfortable. So far, Dhaka culturally is exactly what I expected. It's nothing like India. It's nothing like India at all. It's closer to culturally, in terms of like the infrastructure, it reminds me a bit like Islamabad. Islamabad is nicer, of course. There's not so much traffic. It's a newer city. I think Islamabad was built in the 1950s as a new city, so everything is designed to cater for traffic. But it does remind me of certain places in Pakistan culturally, or maybe also where else with it? Maybe similarities in parts of the Gulf states now. Because obviously there's a lot of Bangladeshis and Indians and Pakistanis in Oman and the UAE and Kuwait and Bahrain. So it reminds me a little bit of that. Obviously there's more people here, but that's the general vibe. It's exactly what I expected. People, I think, assume it's going to be like India, but it's not anything like India. And I prefer it personally, aside from the traffic, but everything else is good. What else? Yeah, I haven't really seen much. I've been doing admin. Oh, there's going to be a podcast. If you don't know about our podcast, we me and a friend do a podcast not on YouTube because we'd be banned immediately, because we talk about politics and things that aren't appropriate on YouTube. But today, Revolut, which is the biggest, most profitable fintech bank in the world, basically suspended my account permanently. So they told me as of today that I'm no longer a customer. The reason given, they don't have to give a reason. I think it's political as usual. So far, so many banks have closed my accounts without giving a reason. I've filed complaints against every single bank with the government, and I've lost 90% of the cases. However, I did win a case 2 days ago against Barclays Bank, and ironically, that wasn't to do with them closing my account. It was to do with them being corrupt, and I won that case, and they've had to pay me for that, although it is a very tiny amount because, of course, the government's corrupt as well. So, but they basically, after I won the case, they told me that they're closing my account next year. So I won the case, and because I won against them, they're closing my account. So there we go. So now Revolut, my oldest bank, and a bank I've had tremendous success with, they used to be phenomenal, have decided to end my customership. Is that a word? I don't know. And like I say, they don't really give a reason because it goes deep and dark. People may not understand that or comprehend that, but if you do a little bit of research, it's happening everywhere. In Canada, if you speak up against the government, the truckers being one such example, all of them had their bank accounts frozen, which is completely illegal, but it doesn't matter, the government do what they want. And of course in Ireland, people that are politically opposed to mass immigration in Ireland, they've all had their banks closed. And these banks are private companies, so on paper they can do what they want, they're allowed to. They can decide if you're to be a customer or not, but it's all politically controlled by the governments, of course. So that's what I woke up to this morning. Luckily, I transitioned from Revolut a long time ago because since they commercialized a little bit and became more of a public space, they used to be more of a travel bank, more specific to say, investors and people traveling a lot. That's what they catered to. They've now just sold themselves out, and to be fair, the fees and the weekend fees they introduced are shocking, and Chase Bank is 1,000 times better. So Chase offer the same thing. They don't brand themselves as a travel bank. Their cards work just as much, if not more often, in places which are a little less conventional. So I recommend Chase Bank, and then of course I have Starling Bank and other banks as well. But screw Revolut. It's disgusting behaviour. But that's basically what I'm doing. I'm applying for another visa, to a tourist visa to another country. I won't say which country that is yet, just because this is going online. But I'm not optimistic about getting that visa. Of course, I tried to visit Iran. In Iran, didn't say no, actually. They said yes, but the UK is on the blacklist with Canada and the US. So when we visit Iran, we have to be on a tour. There's only a few countries in the world like that. And the country I'm going to isn't like that, but it's very difficult to get a visa there, a tourist visa. It's near impossible, actually. So that's everything that's being done. So it kind of worked out well because the 7 days that I've booked also in Dhaka, but in the centre of the city, I will utilise for tourism, essentially. So all the cool things to see, the old town, all the historic sites, the mosques and the fortresses, the parks. I'll spend all next week doing that, and this week will be the productive week. And before I rant anymore, I'll leave it at that. So that's the second video, and I'll definitely have some stuff posted, but it's going to have to be next week.